Alright folks, so I got this assessment from a game studio and the mission is build a clean, modular, scalable and visually polished UI system. They want clean project structure, reusable code, adaptive layouts and a sprinkle of creative flair. The tasks were split into three main parts, being a home screen and bottom bar, which requires adaptive design, animations and a clean hierarchy. Settings pop-up, which needs to come with a modular pop-up system with localization and a blurred background. And lastly, level completed screen, which needs to be visually eye-catching with animations, particles, and shaders. And of course, all of this has to be scalable, reskin friendly, and safe area aware. Easy, right? Well, let's find out.
Saddle up. Lock and load.
I'm starting with a clean URP project in Unity. URP gives me shader graph right out of the box, which I know I'll need for effects later. Before I even import assets, I set up my folder structure, UI, script, prefabs, so everything stays organized. It's like setting up your kitchen before cooking. You don't want to be searching for a spatula halfway through frying an egg. The studio gave me three Photoshop files: home screen, settings pop-up, and level complete. Inside, it was chaos. Layers everywhere, no logical grouping, nothing prepped for export. Think Photoshop's equivalent of a teenager's bedroom. Here's what I did. I resized assets to the power of 2 dimensions for optimal performance, moved layer styles inside smart objects instead of on them, and used consistent naming conventions such as UI underscore sprite underscore the name or VFX underscore sprites underscore name. It took a huge amount of time, but now I have beautifully organized folders ready for Unity. Before we get in how I built everything, let's take a look at the full flow so that you know where we'll be headed. I'll switch between mobile and PC views occasionally because hover effects don't show in the Unity simulator, so PC view is better for that. The header has its own canvas for performance. Why? In Unity, when UI updates, it dirties the canvas and forces a rebuild. Smaller canvases with shallow hierarchies are cheaper to update. Inside the canvas, I split things into 2 objects, one for scripts and one for content, sometimes a background too. The background is often placed outside the save area group, since full screen backgrounds don't need save area adjustments. The header container holds 5 objects. 4 are prefab variants of a root currency item prefab. Updating the root prefab automatically updates all variants, so I can change an icon size in one place instead of 4. I also have a space object with a flexible layout to create a nice gap between the first 3 and the last currency item. The nav bar itself is straightforward. Horizontal layout group with buttons set to flexible width and height. When clicked, the button's flex width animates wider using percentages so it works on any screen size. The tricky part, the indicator element behind the button. Because the buttons are flex-based, the indicator doesn't have a fixed pixel size. Parenting helps until you need to animate it to another button. Reparenting mid-animation causes overlap and changes stretch values. So I made a dedicated script that at the start of the frame, it parents the indicator to the active button. Still, in that frame, it unparents it to prevent overlap and then animates it using the stored rec transform data.
I said, hold up, wait a minute.
The pop-up system uses a root pop-up prefab and a root content prefab, both with variants. This means I can adjust the pop-up and its content separately. Each pop-up has a pop-up animator with exposed curves for tweaking. Also, there is a manager for pop-ups to register and open them and close them as well. And finally, there's also a few pop-up trigger scripts for easy activation from UI buttons or code. Every pop-up implements an iPopUp interface in an abstract base class, so they behave consistently. Adding a new pop-up is simple. Add a variant, set the enum, and drop a trigger in the scene, and you're done. Now, about that blurred background. Overlay canvases can't be post-processed, they render last. I tried shaders, render targets, nearly cooked my PC. The solution: camera space canvases plus depth of field. Problem solved.
Damn!
I'm sorry.
Here's why I went all out with animations. I built a tween utility package. Scripts like canvas group fade, graphic color, image fill, material float, TMP number, all inheriting from a base class with delay, duration, looping, and events. You can stack these for complex sequences. I also added particles in Overlay UI for sparkles and glow effects. Still fixing a scaling bug, but they add so much flair. I also made a little cheat GUI so I can instantly trigger effects. No need to grind through game stage just to test the button's animation. And that's the breakdown. You can grab the project on GitHub. It comes with my tween system, prefab setup, and everything you've seen here. If you found this useful, drop a like, subscribe, and share your funniest UI bug in the comments.